1-747-3733 for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Office in Tampa.
NASCAR lives right here on 102.5 The Bone. Sponsored by Advent Health. Now, back to Real Raw Radio. Sponsored by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
And now, the Mike radio show.
On 102.5 The Bone.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
Oh yeah, Happy Hour, filling in for the Mike-O radio show on 102.5 The Bone. I really wanted to play this song, What We Do by Freeway as a rejoiner, but I couldn't find a radio edit, and I found one radio edit, and it was not a radio edit, so I couldn't play it. I love throwback hip-hop. I don't know if Tampa Bay is aware of that, but I have an obsession with throwback hip-hop. It's all I live for. I also live for this opportunity, so I want to get to know the neighbors. I want to get to know everybody that's listening to The Bone, and in about 6 minutes, Al Keck will be on the show. 102.5 The Bone. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Oh, my God. Of course. If there was a good luck charm to have your first show on The Bone, it would be Fritz. I mean, this guy is a P1 listener. He listens all day. What's going on, bro?
Hey, listen, man. I've suggested many times before, you guys should give Hoppe a show. You should. Because you've grown by leaps and bounds in the last couple of years, and I was rooting for you from the beginning, dude. And I just knew you had it in you to be the superlative radio show host that you have become.
And a lot of people not here. Whenever I trash a radio host, it's not the person here. Previous people in a different city. I've seen radio people take advantage of their listeners. I've seen radio people not care about their listeners at all and just do the show they want to do, and then they wonder why it doesn't work out in the end. But what I love about 102.5 The Bone and the Bone fam is nobody here is above talking to the listeners. And honestly, a radio consultant or Elvis Duran could say I'm great, which I am. But Fritz, a listener who spends his life listening to The Bone, you complimenting me, sir, means a lot. I cannot explain that enough.
Well, I sure appreciate the service that you're giving to me, bro. I mean,
hell yeah.
I'm an old blind guy, and all I really got in my life left is listening to The Bone, and it brings me joy, you know, and it's just a very great thing. And to have you on, you know, online with the rest, it's just a joy.
Well, Fritz, I appreciate the call. This means a lot, and I feel like I can live now that you called. Like, I was worried you weren't going to call, but this made my day. Thank you, bro.
Oh, really? No, I'm not that important, but hey, you keep doing what you're doing, man. You sound great, and I love you, Hoppe.
Love you too, bro. Thank you, dude. All right, let's go to 781, I believe it is. 102.5 The Bone, Happy Hour in for the Mike-O radio show. Who is this?
Hi, Ryan. This is Marilyn.
How's it going, Marilyn?
You're doing a great job. I love you. I've been listening for, 10 years. You deserve it, and you're doing excellent. You're a great person.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That means a lot. I love you, too. You, too. All right, this person has been calling and calling and calling. I put him on hold. And then I call him, and he doesn't pick up. That part didn't happen. But whenever somebody calls over and over while I'm on air, I never know what the route's going to be, so let's find out. 727, you're on the Mike-O radio show.
What's up, Hop?
What's happening?
All right, this is Danny. Wanted to say hi. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, Danny. I feel like I've won over the neighbors. Like, I'm not trying to manifest negativity, but 3 in a row, man, jackpot. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, buddy. Take care.
All right, thank you, my man. 727-579. I swear I did not pay them. 1025 and 1-800-771-1025. It's absolutely crazy. So before we get to Al Keck here, I saw this here and it was very gross, very weird. So in this short lifetime, as long as you're not having bad sex with like animals or somebody that's underage, I don't care what you identify as, live your life, have fun, life's short. If you want to be a swinger, fine, whatever you want, I don't care. But my goodness, does Will Smith make open relationships look bad? This guy, man, I mean, I know people that are in open relationships and they're classy about it. And you have Will Smith, man, giving out too much of the TMI. He was going and being interviewed by Oprah, which Oprah this year is a genius. She's just interviewing people that just want to talk. If it's Meghan Markle or Adele crying about the past but claiming she's in the present, or Will Smith, like Oprah's got that on lock. She's like, I'm going to interview everybody that wants to be exploited, but I'll pretend to be their friend. So Will Smith was interviewed a few weeks ago, and he talks about his marriage, and he's a very fascinating cat because he admitted that after sex, he used to like to throw up. And I mean, that's just what we all like to do. I feel like I should have a better transition, but he is on the hotline, so I'm just going to pretend like he didn't hear this because he's calling so he doesn't hear it yet. On the phone line is a good friend of mine who can be heard every Sunday at 10 a.m. on 102.5 The Bone. He's one of the classiest guys I've ever worked with, and he's got a kind heart, and he's a Tampa Bay sports legend. On the show is Al Keck. What's going on, bro?
Ryan, I was going to ask you, who are you talking about?
Will Smith. No, what happened was I was trying to fill time. I was talking about how Will Smith likes to vomit after sex, and you blow up the hotline, and I'm like, oh, dear, I can't go to break now. So, Al, I'm doing phenomenal, man. There's people that you'll hear about that their friends are biased, and they'll go, oh, that person's great to work with, and they're okay to work with. And then there's people that are awful to work with that you find out are good to work with. But before the Al Keck show began, Dylan the engineer, John Brennan, everyone said how great you were to work with. And I knew when they said that, because they're big names in the building, that they meant it. But my goodness, man, you bring this class to 102.5 The Bone. Not that the other shows can't be classy, but it's been a blast working so far with you.
Well, Ryan, I appreciate that because, quite honestly, there are a lot of times when even, my kids are involved with the show.
Kyle and Megan.
I can get, Kyle and Megan, and they can get a little upset with me because they're saying, "My gosh, Dad, you are so negative towards the Bucks." You say some things that are just really ridiculous here, and so a lot of times I'm wondering if other people in the building are just kind of rolling their eyes. But I'm a fan at heart, and I've seen about every Bucks game there has been played since, 1988? So, I've seen the bad. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly.
Well,
so when a team doesn't play up to what I think it should be playing to, I'm going to say so. And we've seen some of that this year, especially with this defense. And but who knows what? Hopefully, we can see this team starting to get it back together here as they start to head towards the end of the season, much like we did last year. But this team has to find some kind of energy on the road. They've been horrible on the road so far this year. So who knows? Maybe things will change tomorrow.
Going back to your point about you being negative about the Bucks, I mean, before Tom Brady, they weren't really good with Jameis, and they had not made the playoffs in like 13, 14 years. And then you were covering it since 1988, and you saw a lot of the bad teams. And I'm from Chicago, and I would read the newspaper when it was around, and I would read online and listen to sports radio. And there's a certain sad energy when the passionate sports reporter who cares about the team has to report on the team not being good. So when that was happening, and when the Bucks were awful, or maybe even with Jameis, because I don't like him at all, what did you do to bring a positive spin? Because I wasn't here when the Bucks were bad, but I've heard about it, bro.
Well, the big thing for me is that I want a good story, because that's really what my job is to bring interesting stories and to be entertaining and to make it informative and to make it interesting. So that's my main thing, is trying to find interesting parts of whatever is happening on the field. And that's what I've tried to do, even with this. Now, when Tom Brady signed, I thought, this could be something really special here. So I wanted to do whatever I could to be involved in watching this team. And I was lucky enough to be able to make it happen on the best radio station in town.
Damn right.
So what's fun about this is that, every week we talk about the game that's coming up and don't really know what to expect. And you have all week to get ready for it. And then day of, it's almost like, for me, it's almost like Christmas morning when, you see the gifts under the tree. You don't know what they are. You have an idea what you'd like them to be. And then you actually get to open it. So, and then you have another week to get ready for the next game and the next presents and that kind of stuff. So that's what I've always tried to do. But believe me, I've seen some really bad Bucks teams, and I've seen some really good Bucks teams. And I remember when Tony Dungy came to town, and how, people forget he lost like his first 6 games. But you started to see little signs that this team's getting better and better and better. And then they got their act together, and they started doing things that I had never seen them do. And that really set the table for what we expect today from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A winning team, a winning franchise. The Bucks drew well, always had a consistent 50, 60,000 fans, even in the really bad days of the old Tampa Stadium. People were going, but now it's at the point to where people expect certain things. And so I love the high expectation, because there are a lot of, I've seen the days when there were no expectations. And so I like it a whole lot better like this.
Well, you said it best, too, when you came on my podcast, Hoppe Hour, which can be found on every platform by searching Hoppe Radio, when you said that a lot of people back in the day would, go out and party with the players and go out and drink with the players, and that you kept it business. And I think that's how you have so many connections that you can bring every Sunday on 102.5 The Bone at 10 a.m., is that you didn't burn bridges, and you also made good acquaintances with, let's say Young, who won the Super Bowl for the 49ers. So you got big names, man, and it's impressive.
Well, it's fun. I mean, I said if I was going to do this, and I'm going to talk about the Bucks, I'm not going to talk to the local reporter for the Tampa Bay Times.
Thank God,
because I know as much as he does about the game. I can sit there and I can sit there and talk about it myself. Why do I need to talk to him? So I like to talk people that can give me information that I find entertaining, I find informative, and I can learn from. And so I've made it a point to try to have, either a former player or coach or an author or someone that really makes it interesting. Not that the guys at the Tampa Bay Times aren't interesting. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, if you're going to do a show talking about the Buccaneers, well, let's get an interview with someone that really gives you a different perspective, that has played the game at an extremely high level or coached at an extremely high level, or in Lars Anderson, the author that's written the book on the Buccaneers season from a year ago, has some real insight to talk about things that, most journalists or most people that are just, kind of filling airtime can't give. What I don't like when I'm listening to radio shows is I don't want to hear what Bronco Billy in Brandon has to think about whatever, because, we've all got opinions, and my opinion is no different than his, and I don't want to hear his opinion, quite honestly. That's why I don't take calls. I want to inform, I want to entertain, and I want to make it interesting, and I don't find that kind of stuff interesting.
So I have about 5 minutes left with you, so I want to talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning. How cool is that we're back-to-back champs? And what I mean by that, because obviously it's cool, but how does this compare to when they won in 2004? Because I wasn't here, and that was the first time they won. Like, as a guy who's been here since they first began, did you ever think any of this was possible? That they would be third place in the Atlantic Division, and they are 8 games over 500. I mean, did you ever think any of this would happen to Tampa?
Well, I did, because there was a real interest here in hockey. And what surprised me is that there isn't that same groundswell for the Rays. I mean, baseball in the Tampa Bay area has such deep roots with the Cuban culture and the weather and some of the biggest names, in the game grew up here or trained here or whatever, It's been there for baseball, or it hasn't been there for baseball like it has from hockey. In hockey, it is amazing that you've got back-to-back champions. 2000, in their very first one, they won that championship. They won that Stanley Cup. And then the next year, there was a work stoppage. They never really got a chance to celebrate and show off that Stanley Cup. So I'm highly impressed with what the Lightning's done. Again, you're talking back-to-back Stanley Cup champions that play in Florida. Not Montreal, not Toronto, not Detroit right now, not Boston, but Tampa, Florida, Tampa Bay, Florida, with, St. Petersburg, also in, a big part of this. People forget how well this team drew, at the then Thunderdome, Tropicana Field, and they had no idea they'd be able to make that work in that venue, in that stadium. And, I give Phil Esposito all the credit in the world. I remember when he first came to town, beating the drum, saying he was going to get an expansion team for this area. And, the thought of playing in, then Thunderdome, now Tropicana Field, was so bizarre and so out there. But he made it happen. And that really set the table for what's become, I think, a great story in American sports, in that they have the best ownership group in all of American sports. It's really a fun team. It's a great franchise. What they do for our area and the way they've they've been able to do it, again, in hockey, in Florida, I think is phenomenal.
So I first began here at 102.5 The Bone by working promotions, and the Saint, who is patient and known as Mike Olivero, hired me in May 2015. And that was right when they were in the playoffs and they were going to go to the finals and lose against the Blackhawks. And then I worked promotions through May 2018 because I'm a savant and I remember dates very well. And I saw Maple Leaf fans, Blackhawk fans, any fan base come up to our tent, and they were always like, you guys are the best. Like, I didn't expect Tampa Bay to have fans. I didn't expect Tampa Bay and the Amalie to be this nice. And there's something about the fact that everybody hates on us, but we know that we're the best, and we know we're one of the biggest up-and-coming markets. There's something really special about that, the fact that it's like Tampa Bay and St. Pete, it's ours.
Well, what they've done is they've made it the in thing. It is, and that's one of the reasons why, I'm little surprised that baseball hasn't taken off here the way it should have, because the team is fun to watch. The team is put together well. I don't agree with management or ownership and what they want to do with, the splitting time with Montreal and, all that stuff. That's just asinine to me. But what Lightning ownership has done has gone out and they have captured that core of fans for this area. And I truly believe, no franchise wants to go through a last place season or anything like that. But I will say this, if the Lightning went through some struggling times, they would still draw, because they still have that hardcore group of fans that will support this team, unlike any other team in the market. And they will buy tickets, they will show up for those games, and they will support this team. And it's unlike any other sport in this, in this market, or maybe even the state, or maybe even the country. When you look at how faithful these fans are. And that's what impresses me, is that ownership gets this area gets this ownership, and they work together. And they've had different general managers. They've had, different players coming in and out, but for the most part, this front office has done a great job of putting just a fantastic product on the ice. They continue to draft well, and they're putting a fun product out there that people can be very proud to go watch and support and simply enjoy this team and enjoy this sport here in Florida. And imagine if you're a National Hockey League player and you get to play for the Tampa Bay Lightning, along with the great ownership, you're going to be living in some of the most beautiful weather you can imagine during hockey season. And that's got to be great.
So, Al, before I let you go, this has been great. What do you have coming up on the show tomorrow at 10 a.m. on 102.5 The Bone?
I'm excited about this. I have Martin Gramatic.
Nice.
And who was, of course, the kicker during the Bucs Super Bowl, original Super Bowl run. And Martin is a great guy. He's a classy, just awesome guy. I loved interviewing him when he was a player. And he talks very candidly about a lot about his career. And it's great stuff. So I enjoy doing that. That'll be a great segment. And then, of course, I've got Kyle, my son, on, and we do this thing called Hashtag. And we always have fun with that. And it's a good show. I'm excited about it.
So your son, Kyle, just had a kid 2 weeks ago. What was the biggest change that you saw in him from when the kid was... So what was the biggest change you saw in him when the kid wasn't born and then all of a sudden the kid was in this earth? Was there a change in the personality with your son, or was he the same likable Kyle Keck?
No, he's a likable kid. And a likable human. I'm very proud of him. But what he's also is that, and when your kid has a kid and you see how much they're involved in raising their kid and how they treat them and how they parent, although it's different with an infant, but still, you're seeing the caring, you're seeing, taking care of the kid's needs, you're seeing an attentive, father that's there, when this kid needs anything, and he's just, you're in love with this kid, and that love doesn't change, when they get older. They can be more difficult, but, that love doesn't change. And so when you see your kid fall in love with their kid, it's really cool. It's really cool. And so I was up there just a few days after they had the baby and was there for a week. And it was fun just to watch them. And, any grandparent will tell you that being a grandparent is one of the coolest things out there. And there are a lot of reasons, but that's the big one.
Well, Al, tomorrow is going to be a good time. 10 a.m., 102.5 The Bone, theboneonline.com. Get the Bone app or listen on your FM radio to the Al Keck Show every Sunday from 10 to 11 a.m. Al Keck, this meant so much to me that you would come on my first show, so thank you, bro.
Well, Ryan, you make my show so much fun. I can't thank you enough. And anytime I can help, just give me a call.
Awesome, man. Keep up the good work, and I will see you in about 18 hours.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thank you, bro. That's that savant thing I have where I'm very exact. 727-579-1025. No, it's not autism or Asperger's. And 1-800-771-1025. It's nonverbal. We're going to come back, and I want to load up the phone lines. I have a lot on my mind. I have a lot of things I want to talk about, but I also have 2 pairs of tickets to the Mike Calta tailgate. I don't know how I want to give them away, but we're going to figure it out. Maybe you guys can tell me what you're up to, or if you're on your way to NBT and you're in traffic. Speaking of that, NBT Day 2 97X is going on tonight at the, let me see if I can say this correctly, my speech impediment, Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater. Tonight, there are tickets, I think, left over at the box office. This is a big show. I mean, this is a show that this whole company works their ass off, and it's awesome to see. The promotions team works their ass off. It's awesome to see. So this show is legit tonight. So once again, it's at the box office at the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater. We will be right back on Hoppe Hour after this, and I will be sure to give away tickets to the Mike Calta tailgate right after this, only on Hoppe Hour, which is filling in for the Mike O radio show, because Mike O is the best.
You're listening to the Mike O
radio show
on 102.5 The Bone.